Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Tired of ads interrupting your favorite show? Good news. Ad-free listening on Amazon Music is included with your Prime membership. Download the Amazon Music app or visit amazon.com/ad-free sports. That's amazon.com/ad-free sports to catch up on the latest episodes without the ads. Enjoy thousands of Acast shows ad-free for Prime members. Some shows may have ads.
Good evening. This is Slogging It. It is now 2024, 21:45 on the 1st of January. Jono here with you as always, alongside my two trusty steeds, Simon Roberts and Eugene Berger. Myself and Eugene, absolutely fresh as daisies, having been in bed at 9:30 on New Year's Eve. Simon, in a better state than we would have expected, but Simon had a late one last night. No doubt we will hear about that shortly. Plenty to go through, upcoming guests, a bit of an England year in review, some key retirements, and any other codswallop that we can think to come up with for our first episode of 2024. But straight into it, Eugene, I mean, you look grumpy as you like, but how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm grumpy because I haven't had alcohol in me for about 10 days now. I've decided to take a bit of a drier approach to the end of the year to see what the new year brings in. So instead of doing dry January, I decided to do dry second half of December and then debaucherous January. So let's see how that goes.
Perfect. Well, that probably leans into the kind of whips and tassels thing that we were talking about a minute ago and why we can't see the wider scale aspect of your bedroom on any clips this week. Less said about that, the better. Robbo, dear boy, I've seen bits of you over Christmas, but how was New Year's Eve?
Which bits? It was very good, mate. Yeah, we went round to a friend's for just had a really nice time. So it was good. It was a late one. It's the latest I've done in a very, very long time. It was a 4:30 finish, which was, and I'll be honest, it was that we were having that good a time, we were considering carrying on. But once the third bottle of whiskey had been drunk and the third bottle of Baileys for the girls had been consumed, it was probably about time to call it a night. And then when my delightful little boy decided to wake up at 7:30, having had a late night. So, yeah, it's feeling a little bit worse for wear today, very tired. But no, we had a fantastic time. How was your Christmas? No, we're not going to talk about that. Eugene.
No, probably not.
In other news, can our listeners please let us know how their New Year's and Christmases were? Because
probably best not to go into mine. I've had an absolute Barry Crocker, haven't I? Yeah, look, we won't go into it, but I mean, in a weird way, doing this and talking about mental health and so on and so forth kind of helped me get through a lot of it. Because I feel like having listened to people and interviewed people and spoken to people about going through difficult times, like the difficult time I've experienced over Christmas, has and just so people are aware, nothing like majorly drastic. Work conspired against me so that I was supposed to go to Ireland with Lisa and Rafferty to see her family, but work meant that I couldn't go, so I had to spend Christmas basically without my family, which I found incredibly difficult. But you know, in those dark times, just kind of sitting on my own with the dog, like, you know, I thought back to conversations we've had with other people, and it does make you, it makes you just kind of give you know, head a bit of a wobble and just go, actually, I'm all right. Like there are much worse things happening to many more people than I in the world. So, yeah, not ideal, but you know, we fight on, don't we? And a lot to look forward to in 2024. So, and
as they always say, control the controllables.
Well, exactly.
And, you couldn't control the couriers, so
no.
I was about to swear, but you know, bugger them.
Well, exactly. The one thing that I did control
that's what you're the swing route on that swing.
Yeah, they delivered your sex swing rather than my cricket stuff. Yeah.
I don't know where the sex swings come up, lads. People are going to worry about
Eugene's
my
got a
mental health
sex
with
swing.
the.
Eugene,
Everyone's going to
no,
worry.
I mean,
Everyone's going to be. Most people are going to be jealous.
It's actually a TRX bar, lads, just in case you're wondering.
Yeah,
that's what she said.
all vicious rumours. Now, the one thing I did control, I've not actually spoken to Simon about this. So Simon hosted a brilliant Boxing Day bash at his, and I went round to that. And for some reason, I got stuck with just trying to prove his wife's mum wrong about this red wine that her Becky's dad had bought. This stuff, what's it called? I can't even remember. It's this red wine. Jamshed, but it's really sweet, right? But I took it upon myself to then prove that someone would be happy to drink it. Anyway, by the end of the third bottle, it was just Simon, Becky, and I sat in their brand new living room, and I literally took the last sip of the last glass that I was going to have. But when you have that instant thing of, oh fuck, this might well bounce, and then I just thought, right, brand new carpets, brand new sofa, brand new decorated room, and I managed to keep it down. But yeah, crikey, I did feel like I was on edge for a second. But anyway, let's get into the episode, gentlemen. Where do we start? England year in review?
Yeah.
Well, they haven't won a series, have they?
No, they haven't won a lot, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, start with the positives there, Eugene. No, it's been
No, we're not talking about South Africa. We're talking about England.
Oh, here we go. Yes, well played, South Africa. Well, now India let's just talk about
India,
this,
right?
Yeah, India have never won a Test series ever in South Africa, have they?
Look at how they played this game. I can see why.
Well, a lot of people would have expected this side to be the one to change that. But I mean, I'm going to talk about him a bit later in the kind of key retirements. And I've talked about Dean Elgar before on the podcast. I think he is the grittiest cricketer, opening batter, or just cricketer that I've ever seen play the game at that level. He is happy to just wear it, and we've seen it on a number of occasions. But I think he got 185, 189 in the first dig, and basically
their only dig, not the first dig, their only dig.
Yeah, they didn't bat again, did they? But I think a bit of an unsung hero. I watched quite a lot of it, and Tony De Zorzi, who obviously did brilliantly in the white ball games, opening the batting, came into bat at 3, and he got 28, but just nullified that Indian bowling attack and took so much time out of the game. And when you hear commentators talking about getting bowlers into third and fourth spells, that was basically what De Zorzi did alongside Elgar. Then David Bedingham came in on debut, got 60 odd, I think, maybe 70. But Dean Elgar, absolute titan. Has done it. He's coming back to play county cricket, so English cricket fans have got opportunities to watch him in the future. But an absolute mountain of strength for South Africa over a number of years, Eugene.
Yeah, I mean, sad to see him retiring, if I'm honest. Considering South Africa are sending a very weakened side to go and play New Zealand during the SA20, and we'll probably talk about that a little bit later. But he had the opportunity to go and take a young side as he's captaining in his last test because Bavuma's injured. So yeah, he had the opportunity to use and impart some of his knowledge onto those youngsters that are going out there. But instead, he's chosen, as we hear from the commentary team, for those that have been watching on Sky Sports and other popular channels are available. But yeah, that he's going to be playing his trade and county cricket. But it sounds like he's going to be doing pre-season come that New Zealand Test series, which is slightly odd. I mean, some people were suggesting maybe he should be going to New Zealand for pre-season with the South African side. Just want to pick up on something you said there with De Zorzi and Elgar taking out a lot of time out the game. I mean, South Africa won within 3 days, right? So as much as they took a lot of time out the game, and Elgar did have a fantastic batting performance, where are these South African bowlers coming from? I've never heard of this Nandre Berger guy, this left arm quick, and he's just a revelation, right? I mean, I was looking at some of the South African fast bowlers from that appeared on screen the other day. There's like seems like they're back on that old West Indian trade line of just literally wheeling out fast bowlers again, which is good for Test cricket, I guess. But I wonder how much Test cricket we're going to be playing in the future.
Well, you look at it, they're not actually, the grounds haven't exactly been sold out, have they? They're still playing in front of 3 men and a dog, which is sad, especially when we've all been to cricket in South Africa. We know it's not the most expensive place to go and watch cricket, certainly in comparison to the sort of other sides of England and Australia, mainly you'd sort of compare it to. But like you say, they look like they're starting to find a little bit of a personality again with certainly with the bowling attack. It's hyper aggressive, right? But just kind of running absolutely pepper you for good quick bowlers. And then Maharaj, as and when, doing what he does, who for me is one of the sort of most improved test bowlers of the last sort of couple of years. You look at him, was he in and out? There was a time where Shamsi was looking at playing on more, and he's now their spinner, isn't he? That's it. There's no one else that they're going to pick. So I think, like you said, obviously I played a little bit with Dean a few years ago, and he's always been a little bit like that, always been hard as nails, and by no means the most talented cricketer in the world. But what he's always done is worked very hard and prided himself on that grit and determination to get through. So I've only got massive positive things to say about him. I think probably 3 years ago, before Bazball, he would have been one player that if I could have picked someone for getting an England team or from anywhere around the world, he would have probably been it. Yeah, I know he only averages 37, 38. But what he does is he knows exactly what he's doing. He takes time out of the game. He gets bowlers into that, like people say, that third and fourth spell in the day. And when that sort of, if he's got it and if he's still in, people will take advantage of it. But that lower middle order of South Africa that we know can obviously play, they can come in and then take advantage of that. So he's a very selfless man, very selfless cricketer. I think he will be, and knowing the guy sort of not well, but I know what he was like, he'll be on the blower to each and every single one of those young South Africans. They'll be ringing him up. They'll be doing video calls. Like, no, this is what it's about. This is how it works. This is what you need to do. So a fantastic cricketer. Good luck to him in the future. I mean, hopefully he can come and make some decent money to finish his career off in England playing. I mean, if I know Notts have signed Will Young, and there's talks of Somerset, who he's obviously played for before. He's played for Surrey before. So hopefully he can come in and score some big runs and earn some good money to finish himself off from a cricket.
Now only on Slogging It, ladies and gentlemen, will you ever hear me announce that we're going to start the podcast by talking about an England year in review, only then to go straight into how good South Africa have been against India. So what we're going to do now is talk about England's year in review. Where do we start? Should we Ashes?
Virat Kohli?
Yeah, well, might as well.
I mean, India just, look what we...
No, look, the Ashes. Obviously, we had a brilliant experience, didn't we? I think, and it'd be really interesting to talk about this because now we've still never, the three of us, actually talked about this off the back of completing it, have we? Like, we've never just sat down and said that we're proud of it, or we've kind of talked about bits in passing. But I mean, the Ashes was a special thing for the three of us in a different way. But from a cricket perspective, I've watched a bit of it back. Obviously, there's been a lot of replays on over the Christmas period and stuff. And, come the Oval, was 2-2 a fair result? I look back at it now, and I just think England had so many opportunities. Had they have just been a little bit smarter in tests 1 and 2 with how they went about their cricket. Obviously, the rain killed us at Old Trafford. But England could have absolutely wiped the floor with that Australian side this summer.
Yeah, I think it was a series where England will look at a lot of missed opportunities. Australia are a good side. They're a very, very World Test champions. So, they're not terrible. And what they did was they won enough moments in those first 2 games to make it so that they were 2-0 up, whether they were gifted and for me, that Ashes series was a series of extremes. There was some amazing cricket, breathtaking cricket on some parts, but there was also some absolutely bang average cricket as well. Like we've already spoken about, it's stuff that you'd expect to see on an under-12s game. So, 2-2, fair result. Yeah, possibly not. But you've got to take your chances, and we spoke about it during the time in England. We're having to create 28, 29 opportunities to take 20 wickets, and that's just not sustainable. It doesn't matter how good a batting side you've got or whatever. If bowlers are having to create that number of opportunities for you to even get close to taking 20 wickets, it's just not going to happen.
Eugene?
Yeah. Likewise, I'm with Rob on that. There was very good and very bad. I think for me, I was super surprised to see the weather impact that it had on the series. You know, people now know forecasts. There were days lost. I mean, the Manchester game, there was a lot of time lost out of that game. You know, should England or could England have done anything different? Maybe, maybe not. Were different decisions made? You know, there's so many different permutations that they could have gone down the route of. But I think if you look at the beginning of the series and you said that would 2-2 be a fair result, you would have said no, right? Because I think the favourites going into that was England. So if anything, England should feel hard done in that they didn't, you know, live up to the expectation. And, you know, I know we're going to talk about this, but it just seems like that's been England this year. Going into the World Cup, there was so much, there was an air of expectation, and going into the West Indies, there's an air of expectation, and just every single time England this year have gone into any sort of, you know, semi-competitive cricket competition, they just haven't been able to perform, which is interesting because on one hand you've got this test side under Barry McCullum, not Barry, Baz McCullum, that's
His brother.
That's just taking, you know, his brother, yeah, that's just taking leaps and, you know, strides forward. And then you got Matthew Mott, where it seems like the ODI side and the T20 side is going backwards. So it's different to look at the different leadership styles and to some degree, I guess, the different captains within those sides. But just, you know, going back to the Ashes, very, very good from our part in terms of the walk, and, you know, the most memorable part of that is going to be those canals, not the cricket necessarily, but yeah, it was good fun walking with you boys.
I was having a look at some of the videos just through the Instagram feed the other day, and the one that did make me chuckle was Robbo got to the end of this path, and obviously it had been raining a lot, and was supposed to go right, but it was basically like another version of the River Thames was down the road they were supposed to go. So it was like, right, back we go. We'll figure out another way. But look, a brilliant experience. I do think at some point the three of us will sit down and just talk about it over a beer and kind of reminisce a little bit. But no, it was great. Okay, then, on balance as a year, we're going to talk a bit more, and we'll go into the World Cup and then into that West Indies tour. On reflection, the year as a whole, Team England, not, you know, as one, forget not white ball and red ball, like positive year, negative year, or meh year.
I'd go shit year. I mean, there's no other way of, you know, you can polish a turd as much as you want to, but it's still going to be a turd.
Roll it English.
Bravo.
Yeah,
Rod.
I think disappointing. They obviously had massive opportunities to have a very, very good year. You'd say that Ashes series, they should have won a bit more cricket smarts in the first two tests, and they win that 4-0, maybe 3-1. Yeah. I'll give them that. I just think a bit of a letdown would be how I'd summarise England's cricketing year. Entertaining, but from a results point of view, a bit of a letdown. Across white ball and red ball.
It all started so well, red ball wise, in terms of Pakistan, didn't it? So we went out there and absolutely bossed it. So let's not forget to mention that.
Oh, we did win a series. We did win a series.
Yeah, we did win a series. Yeah, we absolutely battered Pakistan. But yeah, so we can't forget that. Obviously, the re-emergence, let's say, of Zach Crawley until he possibly flatters to deceive again. We don't know. We shall wait and see. But let's also talk about some of the players that have come through. Ben Duckett, fantastic, brilliant to see him back in an England shirt, doing so well. More recently in the West Indies, Phil Salt scored back-to-back hundreds in international T20 games. He's massive. Will Jacks, I think we should be excited by. Rahan Ahmed, we should be really excited by. So I think there have been positives. Josh Tong, I think, is someone that we need to watch pretty closely as we move forward if he can stay fit. So The other thing, just while I talk about players that we've been lauding and saying how well they've been doing. Now we've been calling for one Tom Curran to be put back in an and then, I mean,
What a
for
take.
those of you that haven't seen this, and I imagine if you're a cricket fan, as you will be if you listen to this, is you must have seen it. But what the fuck is he doing? Like, so he's before a game. He's playing for the Sydney Sixers, I think, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he's trying to mark his run up, which you're not allowed to do run throughs on the actual wicket before the game has started. So you can do it on the pitch next to it, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, so he does it once. The umpire then comes and stands in his way in the popping crease. And he basically almost barges the umpire out of the way, which then bought him a 4-game ban. And the entire cricket world going, you twat. What are you doing?
Other than Mark Moore that thought the ban was excessive.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, that's that whole everything that I think Surrey have done worked really hard on to get away from. You know, that whole, and what happened to Tom Maynard was tragic, but that whole era around Surrey cricket, the kind of Champagne Charlie boy lifestyle, like, you know, this, that, and the other. And they've worked really hard to get their players away from that and that kind of arrogance. And, you know, just think that is such a massive mistake from Tom Curran, because it makes him look like an absolute prize prick, doesn't it? There's no other way of describing it, is there?
It's
right.
Well, the one area where I do have a little bit of sympathy is why can't people just do a trot through? If someone can explain to me why someone can't mark the run up out and then just trot through to check it. Everyone does it in club cricket. Why all of a sudden? I mean, what's he going to do to the pitch? He's not gone shade of Freedy and done like ballet spins, is he? He's just trotting through. He's not.
They're called pirouettes.
Ballet spins, yeah. You know what I mean. But to know that's then the law and to run through the umpire is just absolute brain fart by knobhead.
I mean, look, even if he's going to try and use a defensive, I couldn't hear what he was saying, right? Surely, if he stood in the way, don't do it. Like, I mean, it's not going to ride that well, that excuse. I couldn't hear what he was saying, so I just thought he was stood there.
That's like the bloke in the pub that goes, I couldn't hear what he was saying, so I headbutted him.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to say that, are you? You can imagine that defence in court. We're at a murder trial and some bloke's, sorry, I couldn't hear what he's saying, so I shot him in the face.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woohooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver? I kind of like the high five, but if you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. At ChumbaCasino.com, choose from hundreds of social casino-style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses. So don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Tired of ads interrupting your favorite show? Good news. Ad-free listening on Amazon Music is included with your Prime membership. Download the Amazon Music app or visit amazon.com/ad-free sports. That's amazon.com/ad-free sports to catch up on the latest episodes without the ads. Enjoy thousands of Acast shows ad-free for Prime members. Some shows may have ads.
That's not a justification to behave in that manner. Like, it's just not. It's like he's clearly moved in front of him and he clearly knows he's doing something wrong. So it's just a dickhead manoeuvre for me. But hey ho.
Yeah. Live and learn, 4-match ban.
Christmas.
Hope that he can still play cricket
Christmas
as well
off.
as he was during the blast.
Yeah.
Rat arse on a beach in Sydney, yeah.
Wonderful.
Right. World Cup. We don't really need to talk about the World Cup. We covered it heavily, didn't we? Absolute disaster. The one thing leading on from that, where we thought that the white ball side might be able to rescue some semblance of respectability, would have been in the West Indies, would it not? We lost both series, both the 50.
Yeah, I mean, you guys were not very good. I think you went from a holiday in India to a holiday in the West Indies, which was nice for the players that went out. A couple of highlights from that, though. I mean, Phil Salt really showed why he should have been selected in that World Cup squad, and hopefully he's the first name that's going to be on the team sheet come the middle of this year when the T20 World Cup comes along. So, yeah, look, you could take some positives. Just, again, strange leadership, strange decisions, strange selection from Matthew Mott. I guess we get into sort of one common denominator here in the white ball arena, in that, is the leadership and the coach the right people to take the team into 2024? I guess we'll find out in a few weeks / months' time.
Yeah, good to see Butler back, though. Butler finding a bit of form. In fits and starts, though, wasn't it? Certainly not, not anything to write home about. I think he got did he get 150 plus score, I think, in the T20s out of the 5 games. But yeah, look, I think there are some exciting young cricketers around that side that went out to the West Indies. So hopefully they will continue to improve, and hopefully the future for England cricket in the white ball scenario is better than it has been in 2023. Before we go, just want to talk about
one quick thing, John. I don't mean to rub, you don't mean to kick a man when he's down and stuff, but you mentioned that England beat England in the series. They did beat them,
Pakistan.
However, that series was in 2022. It was in December where they played those 3 test matches. So England 0.
All right. So not only have you ruined the start of the podcast by saying it was England year in review and then talking about South Africa, you've now pissed all over the one positive bit of chippery we had left. So thank you.
What do you think is the most important thing for England cricket moving forward, Jono? What do you think for next year? If you could have one aim for this year, like not even an aim, like an aspect. I don't really say like win this series or win the T20 World Cup. One part. What do you think is the most important thing?
Look, this year's heavily Test cricket weighted, isn't it, in terms of from an England perspective? So I think that I would really like us to stick to our guns in terms of the way that we play, but also be mindful that in Indian conditions, it's not going to be that easy just to go out and try and slap it. I would imagine that they're going to produce turning wickets in order to try and nullify the Bazball approach. I'd like to see us go out and compete through proper cricket and being able to adapt in Indian conditions. But I think for me, the consistency of the Test side is going to be the biggest thing for me. I think a change, the secondary for me. I know you've only asked for one, but secondary. I think for me, Matthew Mott's running on a short leash, and I think that Rob Key's made some very, very good decisions, and I think his next good decision is going to be to find out when the right time is to kind of make a change at the top.
Good question, Robbo. How about yourself?
I think the most important aspect for England cricket this year is fast bowlers, and they've got to find a way to keep bowlers fit. They as soon as we think we've found someone, they get injured, and you look at it and it's not even. It used to be people would just think, the quick bowlers, people like Wood and Archer and Stone and all those guys, but it's now people like Robinson, they're getting injured, and so for me, that's going to be such an important part of this Bazball thing is giving themselves the opportunity to take 20 wickets. That's why they do that, but they can't keep. And now Broad's gone, who's been one sort of regular fixture. They have managed to keep him fit, and everything that to do with central contracts and whatnot has worked with him and Jimmy Anderson. I think there's a massive thing coming up, and there's a lot of pressure on the quick bowling stock that's coming through because, I can't see where that now. Archer's done for me. Wood's going to get injured. You've got people like Josh Tong injured, Ollie Stone injured, Robinson injured. No Broad. You're going to stand and go, right, hang on a minute. Who are these bowlers that we're so reliant on? You look at the one-day side, for example, where we've got, and even in one-day cricket, to be fair, our best bowler at the World Cup was Reece Topley, and he breaks more than a family pack of Kit Kats. So it's just that for me is where in order to get to that next, and Archer might come back and play some short format cricket, I mean, he played in that school game in the Caribbean and got 4 for spit and looked like he was bowling rockets, but a 12-year-old did gun him through extra cover. So I know it was a big game for him. So, right, I mean, but for me, it's just that you look at the makeup of that side, especially with Stokes being dubious on whether he's going to bowl in both long and short format cricket. I think keeping the fast bowlers fit is going to be the key thing.
I think it was a very good point. A very good point indeed. Eugene, any views on that? What's the key thing for England cricket?
I think they should focus on the 100. It's the only thing that they're relatively good at the moment. So
But the only fucking people playing it.
You have now taken the pin.
In all seriousness, I think a mixture of what you guys have said, consistency with selection, and hopefully bowlers can stay fit. Because, I mean, I've just looked at the fixtures that you guys at the England side have coming up. You guys are playing 5 tests in India. Admittedly, you're probably going to take 3 or 4 spinners and 1 seamer, so seamers are not going to be particularly needed in that. You then play against Pakistan in a T20 series, which then moves on to a series against the West Indies in tests. Sri Lanka again tests, and then Australia T20s and ODIs for the home summer. So a relatively packed summer for you guys and England specifically. But yeah, trying to stay fit over that, which means that your squad rotation is going to be super important.
Right, well, there we have it. Just before we go, there have been some key retirements and some fond farewells from us as cricket lovers to a few guys departing the scene. So obviously key retirements across the international game. Stuart Broad, obviously absolute legend, fairy tale ending at the Oval back in the summer. Quinton de Kock, Dean Elgar, Steve Davies, who I think deserves a bit of a special mention. Oh, had an up and down career, didn't he? Probably never confirmed, but probably feels like he probably maybe wasn't selected post coming out, and I think that's probably a being under his bonnet. Which and whether that was the reason or not, the two seem to coincide with each other, which I think is unfortunate. But a great career. Tim Murtagh, the absolute stalwart of Middlesex and Ireland cricket, and of course, who can forget Sir Alistair Cook. But we also cannot forget to mention a heartfelt fuck off and die to David Warner, who will be retiring in about 6 days' time.
Well, that's how you ready feel, Jono.
Welcome to 2024.
Often I'm excited. It's the first day of January, first of the year. So,
I can't wait. In about 3 months' time, we've made some phone calls and got him on a podcast, and Jono's absolutely stood behind him. David Warner's bent over, and Jono's neck deep up it.
Do you know what? This is just I love the mentality of David Warner. He was asked in a press interview. Now keep in mind, this is the man that is Stuart Broad has him wrapped around his little pinky and get him out for fun, blah blah blah. He gets asked in a press interview, who is the toughest bowler you've ever faced in your career? Oh, Dale Steyn. Doesn't even give Stuart Broad a mention. He's just like,
obviously not.
Myself and Sean March opened the batting, and he pinned me and put me on my arse a few times, and only mentions Dale Steyn. Never mind the guy that's got him out 100 times or whatever. Yeah. Admittedly, the way Australia and England play against each other, it could have been 100 times, but it's surprising. We haven't had to go to India tonight, lads. What's going on?
Well,
mentioned that they are losing.
To be fair, I have got an awful amount of bullets waiting for the ICC when we decide to do an episode on them, because for me, the year of 2023 will be remembered for them bellends is the only way I can use to describe them, getting involved in things that they really shouldn't be getting involved in and being unable to develop cricket. So we will save that for a future episode when I reckon I could do 45 minutes on my own.
Well, next week, lock it in.
Well, you say next week we might be talking to a few guests, right?
Well, we might, yeah. So just a few things to mention. We've been working hard to secure some wonderful names. So we're talking to 3 ex-England captains, an ex-international GB athlete who went on since to work for both the ECB and the RFU, so has a lot of views on the inner workings of sport. A very, very funny ex-England spinner, an ex-England quick bowler, a county stalwart, and others. We're not saying names though, because we don't want to jinx them.
We keep jinxing it, right? Every time we say a name, they never come on. So we're just going generic this time in terms of what we're going to be, who we're going to be talking to.
Nick, where's he from? Anyway, and also some lots of hopefully very exciting Woodstock news coming up in the next month or so, and you will hear that here. So,
I've got an announcement. If we have a few minutes, I've got a
few minutes.
A message. Well, a few seconds actually. It won't be less than a minute. It's come a message from Mark Curtin, CEO of the Lord's Taverners. Eugene, Jono, and Robbo. I just wanted to say a huge thank you to you boys and all of the listeners of the pod who support the Tavs. You guys are huge champions and friends of the charity who have literally given blood, sweat, and tears for the cause this year. That was 2023. On behalf of the 23,000 young people who reach our program, we thank you. We are hugely grateful and wishing everyone a fantastic holiday season and looking forward to more Slogging It and the Tavs in 2024. Go well, boys. How's that for a nice little message from Mr. Curtin, hey?
Absolutely.
Very nice. He's a good man and shows, he's the absolute top of the tree, isn't he, from the Tavs? So very kind of you, Mark. Thank you very much. And we look forward to supporting the most wonderful charity for many years to come. So that's it. That is the first episode of Slogging It from 2024. We will be recording every Monday evening at 9 p.m. and probably releasing, I would guess, Wednesday is huge, I would think.
Wednesday, Thursday, depending on how long we go for here.
Fair enough. So different episode every week. There will be times, I imagine, where we do dailies, depending on, there's probably 17 World Cups going on this year. But from now until next week, we bid you adieu and hope you've all had a wonderful Christmas and New Year season. Till next week, see you soon.
Boys, Happy New Year.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.